Every neighborhood has that one house. The one where the lights are always off on Halloween. The one kids dare each other to approach. For Maple Street, it was the Blackwood house. 17-year-old Tyler had heard the stories his whole life. No one had lived there for decades. Anyone who trick-or-treated there never came back. Urban legend nonsense, he thought. On Halloween night, his friends dared him. $50 to knock on the door and ask for candy. Tyler agreed, confident in his skepticism. The house loomed at the end of the street, separated from the others by an overgrown yard. Tyler's footsteps crunched on dead leaves as he approached. Behind him, his friends watched from the sidewalk, phones recording. The porch steps groaned under his weight. Tyler raised his fist to knock, but the door swung open before his knuckles made contact. A woman stood there, impossibly old. Her Halloween makeup bore face too realistic. She wore a Victorian dress covered in cobwebs. "Trick or treat," Tyler said, his voice cracking despite himself. She smiled, revealing teeth like broken tombstones. "How wonderful. I haven't had visitors in so long." She dropped something into his bag, heavy, cold. "Thank you," Tyler muttered, backing away. "Wait," she called. "You must stay. It's the rule." "What rule?" "You took the candy. Now you must stay until you give it to someone else. That's how the game works." Tyler laughed nervously and ran back to his friends. They watched the video. It showed him approaching an empty house with a rotted door hanging off its hinges. No woman, no conversation. Just Tyler standing there talking to nothing. He reached into his bag. Inside was a human heart, still warm, wrapped in butcher paper with a tag. "Pass it on." Tyler screamed and threw the bag. When he looked again, it was just a candy bar, a vintage wrapper from the 1950s. "I'm going home," he said, but he couldn't. Every direction he walked led back to Maple Street, back to the Blackwood house. The woman stood on the porch, waving. His friends had vanished. The street was empty except for one small figure approaching, a child in a ghost costume. "Trick or treat," the child said, holding out a bag. Tyler's hand moved on its own, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out the candy bar and dropped it in. The child ran away, giggling. Tyler felt the weight lift. He could move freely again. He ran home, swearing never to speak of it. Tyler's little sister came home an hour later, crying. She'd gotten a weird candy bar from a teenager on Maple Street. The wrapper was from the 1950s. Their mother took it away, concerned. But that night, she found herself walking toward Maple Street, unable to stop, the candy bar heavy in her pocket. The Blackwood house always gets its visitors, and the candy always finds its way to the next person. Some say the woman has been playing this game for over a century, and the line of visitors stretches back further than anyone knows. Melissa loved Halloween, and Morrison's pumpkin patch was her favorite tradition. This year, she arrived late on October 31st, just before closing. "Pick any pumpkin you want," old Mr. Morrison said. "Everything must go tonight." The patch was massive, thousands of pumpkins sprawling across acres. Melissa wandered deep into the rows, searching for the perfect one. She found it at the very back, a massive pumpkin, perfectly round, deep orange, without a single blemish. But carved into its side was a face, not drawn, carved, and it was her face, every detail perfect, down to the small scar on her eyebrow. "Mr. Morrison," she called, "who carved this?" No answer. The sun was setting fast. She tried to leave, but the rows of pumpkins seemed endless now, all looking identical. Every turn led deeper, and then she noticed other pumpkins had faces too, carved faces of people she didn't recognize, all screaming. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You found your pumpkin. Now you must take it home." "This isn't funny," Melissa shouted. Another text. "They all say that, but the pumpkin chose you. If you don't take it, you'll take its place." Melissa ran. The pumpkin seemed to multiply, blocking her path. She tripped, falling face first into the dirt. When she looked up, the pumpkin with her face was right in front of her, impossibly moved. "Fine," she screamed. "I'll take it." Instantly, she was back at the entrance. Mr. Morrison stood there, smiling. "Wonderful choice. Remember, you must keep it until midnight. After that, you can carve it." Melissa loaded the pumpkin into her car and drove home, checking the rearview mirror constantly. The pumpkin sat in her passenger seat, its carved face watching her. At home, she set it on her porch and waited. 11:59 p.m. One more minute. The pumpkin began to pulse, glowing from within. Melissa heard screaming, muffled, desperate, coming from inside the pumpkin. Midnight struck. The carved face changed, twisting into a different person. The screaming stopped. Melissa's phone buzzed. "Thank you for your service. You're free, for now." Melissa never went back to Morrison's pumpkin patch. But every Halloween, she receives a text at midnight. "We have a pumpkin waiting for you." And sometimes, late at night, she looks at photos from that evening and sees something terrifying. In the picture of her holding the pumpkin, the carved face isn't hers. It's her own face looking out from inside the pumpkin, mouth open in a silent scream, while someone else entirely holds it and smiles at the camera. The invitation appeared in Derek's mailbox on October 30th. Expensive cardstock, embossed lettering. "You are cordially invited to the Halloween party of the century. Costumes mandatory. Midnight, October 31st. The Blackstone Manor. No RSVP. No return address." Derek showed his roommate. "Dude, Blackstone Manor? That's that abandoned mansion on Hilltop Drive. This is obviously fake." But Derek was intrigued. At 11:45 p.m. on Halloween, he put on a vampire costume and drove to the address. The manor was lit up, music pumping, luxury cars filling the driveway. People in elaborate costumes mingled on the lawn. This was real. Inside was even more impressive. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, a live band. The guests wore costumes that must have cost thousands. Intricate makeup, prosthetics, period-accurate clothing. "First time?" asked a woman in a Marie Antoinette costume so realistic Derek could see individual lace threads. "Yeah, how did you?" "You'll see. Enjoy the party, but leave before the unmasking." She disappeared into the crowd. Derek drank, danced, had the time of his life. The clock struck 3 a.m. The music stopped. A voice boomed. "Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. The unmasking." Everyone began removing their masks, peeling off their makeup, taking off their costumes. Except they weren't costumes. The woman dressed as Marie Antoinette removed her wig, pulling away her scalp with it, revealing the skull beneath. The man in the werewolf costume unzipped his suit, peeling away his skin. Derek stumbled backward. Around him, the guests were removing their human costumes, revealing the creatures underneath. Ghosts became visible as they stopped pretending to be solid. Demons shed their human faces. The undead let their flesh hang loose. "Welcome," said the host, a tall figure in a plague doctor costume, who removed his mask to reveal he had no face at all. "We're so glad you accepted our invitation. We only invite the special ones." Special? Derek whispered. The ones who can see us. The ones who belong here. Derek ran for the door. It was locked. Every exit sealed. You can't leave now, the host said. You've been to the party. You've drunk our wine. You've eaten our food. You're one of us. Derek looked down at his hands. They were becoming translucent. Derek's roommate filed a missing person report on November 1st. They never found him. But if you drive past Blackstone Manor on Halloween night, you might see it lit up, full of partygoers. And if you look closely at the figure in the vampire costume standing in the window, you might recognize Derek's face, still wearing that same costume, still looking desperately for a way out, waiting for the next person to receive an invitation. Jordan found the mask at a vintage Halloween store she'd never seen before. Tucked between cheap plastic decorations was this masterpiece, a porcelain mask painted like a beautiful Venetian design, half comedy, half tragedy. "How much?" she asked. The old shopkeeper smiled. "For you? Free, but you must promise to wear it all night on Halloween." "That's it?" "That's it." Jordan agreed, thinking she'd stumbled onto amazing luck. On Halloween night, she wore the mask to a party. It fit perfectly, like it was molded for her face. People complimented it constantly. She felt confident, witty, bold, not like herself at all. At midnight, she tried to remove it. It wouldn't budge. She pulled harder. The mask held firm, as if it had become part of her skin. She ran to the bathroom, tugging frantically. Her fingers found no seam, no edge. The mask had fused with her face. She called the store. Disconnected number. She looked up the address. An empty lot. The store was gone. Jordan drove to the hospital, but when she tried to explain, the doctors looked confused. "What mask?" they asked. She looked in the mirror. Her face looked normal, but she could feel it. The porcelain, the weight, the foreignness. "You're not wearing a mask," the doctor said. "Maybe you should see someone about the stress." Jordan went home, terrified. She could feel her real face underneath, trapped, screaming. But to everyone else, she just looked like Jordan. Days passed. She noticed changes. She was funnier, more confident. People loved her, but it wasn't her. It was the mask's personality bleeding through. She tried everything. Hammers, chisels, fire. Nothing worked. And each day she felt more of herself slipping away, replaced by whoever, whatever, the mask wanted her to be. One morning she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the expression staring back. The mask's comedy side was laughing. The tragedy side was crying, but she didn't feel either emotion. She didn't feel anything at all. Jordan's friends say she's never been happier. She's social, successful, always smiling. But if you look closely at photos, you might notice something strange. Her expression never quite matches the moment. The smile is too wide, the sadness too theatrical. And sometimes, late at night, neighbors report hearing two voices coming from her apartment. One laughing, one sobbing, both begging for help. The vintage Halloween store appears in a new location every year, and every year someone finds a beautiful mask that fits perfectly. The shopkeeper always gives the same warning: wear it all night. No one ever asks what happens after.